welcome to my new Guitar Nerdery video. Today I'd like again to talk about the modes of the Ionian system, also known as the church modes. I always recommend to learn all the mode names by heart and also the order of the modes, because the order tells you about how they are built up, how they came into existence, how they are related to each other, and which ones belong together and which don't. Today I'd like to take another approach on sorting the modes, sorting them by intervals and therefore by sound. This will be an extra information of great value to put the modes into a mood category and learning about the relation between great and small intervals and bright and dark sound. The regular order of the modes goes like this: Ionian, Dorian, Frisian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian and Locrian. And how came this order into existence? Because the root scale is the Ionian scale, where the whole Ionian system derived from. So we have the Ionian scale, which is most of the times just called the major scale, and each of the notes of the major scale could be a root. And the major scale, the Ionian scale, has a halftone step between the third and the fourth note and the seventh and the eighth. And when we define one by one each note of the scale as a new root, we get 7 different sounding scales, because each time the reference point, the root, changes, and in relation to this, the position of the halftone steps. And that makes the different sound of the modes. In the Ionian system we have major and minor modes and one half diminished mode. And they appear in the following order: in major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So this is how the regular mode names and the mode positions, the numbers, came into existence. But as logical as this build-up of modes and this order seems, not sound-wise, as long as we stay in the same Ionian system. For example, the C Ionian system, there we have the modes C Ionian, D Dorian, E Frisian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian and B Locrian. The difference is not so obvious between the modes, because if we stay in the same Ionian system, all these modes include the same notes. So we always get the feel they belong to each other. The game really changes when we stick to one root. So we play, for example, A Ionian, A Dorian, A Frisian, A Lydian, A Mixolydian, A Aeolian and A Locrian. Then the differences between those modes get more obvious. For example, the step from A Ionian to A Dorian is 2 notes. The step from Dorian to Frisian is also 2 notes. Or the step from Frisian to Lydian. Look at this. Lydian. 5 notes difference. This is an extreme difference. Let's now get to the different approach of looking at the order of the modes, giving it another perspective. Sound-wise, all the modes sound different because the halftone steps sit on different positions. This changes the intervals from the point of view of each root of each mode. If we want to sort the modes in a logical order, then we can assume that we have to do this by looking at the intervals they include. Let's do this. Let's sort them by great and small intervals. Let us put the mode first with the greatest intervals, and the last will be the one with the smallest intervals. And we try to get step by step, shrink it down until we get to the last mode. When we do this, the first mode will not be Ionian anymore, but Lydian, because Lydian is the mode with the greatest intervals. The notes of A Lydian: A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp. Major second, major third, augmented fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh. The second mode then, for this we have to flatten the augmented fourth of A Lydian to the perfect fourth. That's the only difference between Lydian and Ionian. So, this note goes here, D sharp to D. The next mode will be Mixolydian mode. For this we have to flatten the major seventh. G sharp becomes G. The only difference. Still in the major region. And now comes the switch to minor. Dorian is a minor mode, but it differs only by one note from the Mixolydian mode. The major third of Mixolydian has to become the minor third. C sharp becomes C. So we're talking major minor here, but the difference is not so great between those two scales. The next in line would be the Aeolian mode. For this we have to flatten the major 6 F sharp of A Dorian to F. And when we flatten the major second B to B flat, we get to the Phrygian mode. So we are already at the 6th mode in our sound order. Now comes the last, and this is equally to the regular order. The Locrian mode is the mode where everything is flat that can be flat. A diminished fifth here, a flat 5. So we can get at least a really logical order of the modes by sorting them by intervals. From each mode now, Lydian, Ionian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian and Locrian, each step happens by flatten one interval until we get to the Locrian mode. The exciting question is now, does this sort the modes also by sound? Sound perception is absolutely personal, but at least for me, and I guess for a lot of you, there is a relation between great and small intervals and the sound. In my opinion, how I perceive it, the Lydian mode with the greatest intervals is also the one that has the most open sound. That sounds really wide. And when we bring also another term in, not only width, but brightness, bright sounding mode, then for me, each step the sound gets darker. The modes that are the most opposed to each other sound-wise are Lydian versus Locrian. It's my perception, but I'd like to find out if you perceive it the same way. I will now do a longer improvisation demonstration over a special prepared backing track that goes from Lydian via Ionian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian to Locrian. The order we just sorted by intervals. The transition of the modes will be fluent and each mode stays for 16 bars. I think it's long enough to get an opinion about the sound. So let me now play the whole thing through. I will try not to shred too much, keep it very melodic and emphasizing the important notes, the character notes, to bring out the max of each mode's character. Grab something to drink and have fun. This was a longer improvisation, but it was also a lot of fun. And I'll stick to my formerly mentioned perspective. I find that shrinking down intervals makes the sound darker, step by step. I find this a logical order sound-wise. Lydian, Ionian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Frisian and Locrian. What I'm interested now is, what is your perception? Do you perceive it the same way like I do, or do you find it sounds not logic? Please tell me. Leave a comment. This was it for today, and if you liked the video and want to support me, please consider to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would really help me out. Help me to make further videos like this. I'm looking very forward to see you next time.